Alright folks, it's James with Inspired Serinity again. Now you get to see what I've been working on all summer long. This is my solar bay. My solar bay, I wanted to keep it as extremely simple as possible for simple reasons. Because who's to say I'm going to go get another RV next year, year after, I don't know. But to make a very simple statement, I wanted it where all my solar gear and inverter gear can be pulled out and put into the other RV, if I get another RV, quickly without disconnecting a lot. And this is a system I've come up with, and I kind of like it. It isn't a monster system. It doesn't have a lot of long time running in an inverter, extra batteries and so on, but it suits our purposes. And that's the biggest thing about a solar system. You want it to suit what needs you have in your camper. So I'm going to give you a run over of what I've got. I've got a Duralast deep cycle marine battery. The marine battery, if you wanted to go with amp hours, it's about 110 amp hours. For me, so far, it's been fine. I can run my convection oven, I can run my microwave, while I'm actually still running my refrigerator for up to 8 hours. So I don't need it that long. Again, it's mainly being put in here where I can have coffee or run coffee maker in the morning without running my generator. I have a generator too. If we feel like using the microwave, we can use a microwave without getting on the generator or being connected to shore power. It's got enough power. Yeah, my tripod's about to go crocking over here. The other part of this formula is the inverter. I'm running a Tiger 1500 watt inverter. The inverter in itself has just enough power to do what I was saying before. I run my refrigerator, I run my convection oven, I run my coffee pot. I don't do it all as one. I do them as I need them, one at a time. I'm running 4-gauge wire going to the inverter as far as battery inputs for the inverter. Output of the inverter, I got creative. My RV fortunately has a converter. If I was connected to shore power or I was connected to the generator, this converter charges my house battery. Now that's the most I'm going to tell you about it, because that's about as far as it goes with this converter. What I've done, and you can't see it, it's up here, the converter is plugged into a regular household outlet. That household, whoa, the camera's going crazy here. That household outlet goes into my breaker panel. And there is a breaker in there specifically for the converter to charge my house battery. I'm not going to go into detail. I'm just going to try and explain the flow. If I want to turn on my inverter and I want to power the RV, I have one of the two phases in my circuit breaker panel that this inverter is tied into. It is tied into that phase in the breaker panel by taking the output of the inverter and connecting it where the converter used to be. Now I've got a procedure, and bear in mind my procedure very simply is just a matter of I turn off my main in the breaker panel. I turn off both my air conditioners too. I turn off my converter breaker as well. That's number 3. So what that does for me is this. Now if I were to plug this into that outlet, I'm isolated. I go into my RV next and I turn off, I can actually, I have all those breakers turned off. So all I got to do at that point is turn on my inverter. Now that plug is reverse hot. It's sending power to the breaker panel like my generator was doing or my shore power was doing. So then I go inside of the RV and I turn on the converter breaker. By doing that, in that phase of the breaker that the converter was on, I have the other amenities on the same phase, my coffee pot, microwave, refrigerator, entertainment center, and outlets. They're on that same phase. There's 2 phases in the breaker panel. I'm trying to make this simple. So once I do that, and I'll show you inside the RV real quick. Sorry about the mess, but hey, it's all part of the process. So, you know, my process is very simple. Here's my breaker panel. So before I even turn on my inverter, I just come in here, kill that, kill that, kill that. That's my main power to this panel. That's my 2 air conditioners on the RV. And this is my converter. So to try and make it simple, with the outside portion done, and I'm going to simplify this even more just to make it where you don't see all these steps. I'm trying to make it where you understand the methodology behind it. So now when I turn on the inverter, the plug that the converter was plugged into outside is this breaker right here. So now, in the event that I've got the inverter on, these stay off. This gets turned on, and it turns this leg, this phase of the breaker panel hot. That one is hot. That one could be hot, but it's off. I don't want it on because it draws too many amps. But I know for a fact this breaker right here is where I have my coffee pot, the items in the RV that I wanted to be powered off of the inverter when I threw this breaker on, and I'm boondocking. So that ultimately is how I've got that to work. It works really well. And I'm running a pretty good size convection oven too. The convection oven is right there, and it powers this with the microwave portion, and the convection is powered properly too, and we've had 0 issues with it at all. So again, that's a kind of a cursory look at my inverter setup. I'm going to take you back outside here real quick. And again, I'm sorry about the wind, but hey, welcome to Colorado. That's the best I can say. So with that all being said, again, this outlet is the converter plug. The inverter, I got a really good deal on this, and I'll make a recommendation. This has got 1500 watts of power. It's got a burst of 3000. And the surge for the convection or the coffee pot is not enough to where this will trip. I'm using 10 gauge stranded with end plugs that I made myself. No fancy here. More than likely I'm going to come behind and I'm going to change this from a 4 gauge to a 2 gauge more than likely. And I've got it, I just haven't put it in yet, I've got a 300 amp DC circuit breaker. So again, this is just a general walkthrough of what I've got for that. This up here is my solar charger. And I'm going to try and make it where you can see it. That right there is my solar charger. My solar charger, yes, I'll raise my hand and say I went cheap on it, but I've been pleasantly surprised with it. It is actually a Harbor Freight solar charger. That is the charge controller. Now the charge controller, this is where 4 actually, it's a 100 watt system. This is where 4 amorphous solar panels would connect to as input power to charge the battery to the left. This is actually a plug that comes with the kit. This is what comes with the kit. It's kind of cheesy, but yeah, it's pretty damn bright. I got to turn it on. But for what you do, it's pretty bright. Now, that's for accessories. If you want to have something where on this panel you can switch on and switch off a load. Right now I don't have a solar charger or solar panels connected because I'm in an RV campground right now, obviously. These are my outputs that go to the battery to charge the battery. Currently I'm just kind of, as I've been testing it out, I've used just a regular, household battery charger that you can buy at any Walmart or whatever to keep it topped off. Call it a maintenance charge. So I can test it anytime I want to as I've progressed in this process. But the solar panels are stored in another compartment on the RV, and I like it that way instead of putting them on the roof because I'm not trying to drill into my roof. I can also point the panels in the direction of the sun, best exposure, gives you maximum charge capacity. For this 110 amp hour battery, if I were to drain it down to 30%, left I should say, it would probably take me about 2 to 3 hours to charge it back up. But you know what? For what I need it to be doing, if I'm in the middle of nowhere, that's plenty. In most cases, the outlets in the RV, when I'm running off the inverter, if I plug in my cell phones or whatever, I've got plenty of power to charge my cell phones just off the solar alone, because it's a 20 amp system. So that pretty much is it. Again, Harbor Freight Tools, if you're looking for a solar charger system. Other than that, when you're at a campground, you could grab one of these chargers, plug it into a wall outlet, charge up that battery. It's isolated from the house battery. This is an independent solar charge system. So it's just a matter of making it work in the RV. Again, $200, and I think they're even less as far as the solar charger is concerned now. Unfortunately, I didn't have the magic coupon when I bought it, but hey, you know, their win, my loss, but still I love the system. It actually works really well. So stay tuned. That was the one mod for, Serinity, our RV. I'll show you the rest when we get an opportunity.